Yo, what's good, YouTube? Welcome back to another video on the channel. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day and start to the new year. Haven't been uploading in forever, but we're finally back. It's the beginning of 2023, so we're back with a Trigger Stop V2 video. So I did post this as like my first ever, tutorial video, and it did amazing. So we're gonna go in for a round 2, and this time with the PS5 controller and the Xbox One controller. Now, the Xbox One controller hasn't really changed much, so whatever I show you for this, you can do for the current, like, new-gen Xbox controllers. It's no different, but the PS5 controller is different. So, it's the same thing, but it's, like, I'll explain during the video. But, so pretty much if you're new and haven't seen the original video, what I will be showing you is instead of spending a lot of money on a scuff, like I did over here, not that it's a waste of money, but it's a lot of money when you could just simply do, like, a life hack. But you pretty much just, have these trigger stops that like shorten the movement of the trigger rather than pushing all the way down. So it's like this. So this is all the way down. This is halfway. So instead of spending a lot of money on a controller like this, if you're just primarily doing it for the stoppers and not the paddles on the back, then you can do this custom thing. And I did, again, do a video on the PS4 controller. So you guys could check out that video. I'm going to link in the description down below. And that was a while ago. So I did promise a video on the Xbox controller, and I saved it for when I'm going to do it on the PS5 controller. And here we go. So, there are 4 requirements. You need an Xbox controller, obviously, and a PS5 controller, obviously. And I'm just going to remove this out of the way so no one gets confused. And you need 2 of these thin rubber bands right here. These are the thin ones. And then you need 1 thick one. The thick one is for the PS5 controller, and the 2 thin ones are for the Xbox controller. And again, you can do this on any Xbox controller, the new ones, the old gen, whatever. But this is strictly for the PS5 controller. I mean, it's technically the same thing for the PS4 controller, but I'm just showing you guys how to do it on this controller. So pretty much, we're going to start off with this, very plain and simple with 1. This one gets a little more complicated, but pretty much you are going to get the rubber band and just straighten it out. It's a little inside out. Alright, so straighten it out. You're going to wrap it right here around the trigger. And now what you're going to do is once it's there, you could let go. And now bring it so that it's like over here, right? So you're going to put your thumb here and hold it. And now twist. And now pull it all the way to the other side, right? And then you're going to want to wrap it right here. Now you could let go of here because it's already sturdy. And then you're going to want to tighten it around on the other side. Now hold it here again. And there you go. Now the problem with the PS5 controller is because it's designed a little more fat and wide, that when you try and do this, just like you did with the original PS4 controller, these start to slip around, right? Like if you just give it a bit, it's like right now, I don't know if you could see, but yeah, there you go. Like it just flung, right? So pretty much to avoid that from happening, what you want to do is when you do this process, either you can, now if you're planning on like doing this forever, then you can simply just get like a hot glue gun or anything, or super glue, and just glue this and you're fine. Or you can just simply get tape and just put them, like put a piece of tape right here and put a piece of tape right here. Now I would show you, but I mean it's pretty common sense. It's not, I mean I might just like cut it right here and just show you guys how it looks like with the tape on. First, I'm gonna get the tape ready. So you just want to get 2 pieces, should be enough. There you go. Just gonna put them here on the side of the table. You could use literally any tape. I'm using the smallest Scotch tape. Nothing crazy. So just gonna wrap it around again. There you go. Oh. Let loose. Okay, perfect. And now what you want to do is just grab your piece of tape and then just tape it down over here. Just like that. There you go, it doesn't move. And then you do the same thing for this right side over here. Now let me just get the tape. Here it is. And then, boom, right there. There you go. Now you just, and then obviously to unblock the charging port, just, you could move them around a little so it doesn't cover it. There you go. The bumpers are free, and now this is not moving. The only reason why you got to put tape on this is because the way the controller's styled, it's like a lot more thick and fat compared to the PS4 controller. The PS4 controller, you don't need to add the tape, it just sticks by itself. But yeah, so there you go. Your 2 trigger stops. Doesn't block the charging port. You could just slip it, move it around a little, and then the tape on the sides. So yeah, that's that. Pretty much here's how it looks like on the back. So it stops. So, well, actually, no, you got to pull it down a little. But yeah, so it stops, and it does actuate in-game. So there you go. It stops right there. Well, okay, not tight enough. There. Stops, stops, stops. There you go. And it doesn't, like, again, it's covering this button because you don't have the tape on. But when you do pull it down, you could still have the trigger stop feel without blocking these buttons, without blocking the charger. And the touchpad works perfectly fine. All the buttons and the sticks. And you got yourself your trigger stops on the PS5 controller. So I'm just going to remove that for now. Now, moving on to the Xbox controller. So this is a little more complicated. Actually, okay, yeah. So I'm not exactly sure if the new gen Xbox controllers have this small gap, but I'm pretty sure they do. I don't have one on me right now. You guys can let me know in the comments, but I am positive that every Xbox controller, has this gap. And I'm talking about this gap right here. This gap and this gap between the bumpers, right? So I'm pretty sure they have it. And it doesn't matter how big it is. Like, as you can see, this gap is really thin. That's why you got to use these, because the thick rubber band won't fit through there. So pretty much what you're going to do is you're going to do the same thing that you did over there. You're going to wrap it right here, right? And obviously, again, you could fiddle with that later. So you can do that, and then you're going to wrap it like this to stretch it out. And now twist. But instead of going around the controller this time, you're going to want, it doesn't matter if it like flings or anything, that's not important. For now, you just want to hold it here, and then just wrap it around the bottom, like this thing, whatever. Now here, this is where it gets a little tricky. You're going to want to bring it around, and then slip it in through this small crack right here. Right there. I'm gonna just focus the camera on it. So right there, you see that? You want to probably you want to try and focus it in there. Now it does take a little. There it is. So once you have it in there, that's it. And it does not break the controller. It does not affect it or anything. And you could still click the bumper perfectly. You could even hear the sound of it clicking. Well, perfectly fine. So that's not a problem. And now once you have it over here, you can just play around with this a little. You can push it down, and there you go. Trigger stop. Boom. And then now the reason why you need 2 is because you got to do one for each side, since it's a little more complicated. The reason why you can't do the same thing with the here is because the Xbox triggers are like a lot more different the way they are. So you can't really just wrap it around here and then twist it and then put it here. It doesn't work like that. It's not that simple. I already tried it. If you guys want to go ahead and try it yourselves, you could go ahead. But trust me, it does not work. So you kind of have to do this double-sided one. So you're just going to repeat the same exact process. And then once you're down here, it makes an X here, an X here. Doesn't matter how even it is. As long as you can press both of the buttons perfectly fine. And you can now have 2 trigger stops working. This one's a little more loose, but the only reason is because my controller is really old, and like as you can see, this is like pretty damaged. So that's why it's a lot wider out here, but it still does work. So it's still like this one's a lot better because it's not as damaged. But look, that's maximum. Like you can obviously push them all in, but that doesn't really do anything. I don't know why. You could do that with anything, but that's where it stops. Like when you just tap it, that's where it stops. Instead of going all the way down, it stops right here. Stops right here. Same with this. Stops. So does the same thing for both controllers. It stops the actuation from going to the maximum point, and it just slows it down so that you can have faster response time, just like a trigger stop would on a Pro controller, Scuff or Battle Beaver, whatever. And yeah, so you could do this for literally $5. You just go get a pack of rubber bands from literally Staples if you wanted to. And then you just, for the PS5 controller, you get one of these thick ones, you put it around. And then for the Xbox controller, you just get 2 small ones. And again, this one's just a little more complicated. You got to slip it through these 2 crevices over here. And then wrap it around over here. And then obviously right after, make sure that both bumpers are functioning correctly, because if they're not, then you're gonna obviously run into problems when you're playing. I think that's about it for the trigger stop video. If you guys did enjoy the video, please smash the like button and comment down below with any questions or opinions on the video. I'll try and answer as many as I can. And looking forward to getting back on YouTube with you guys. Thank you guys so much for being patient with me for such a long time. And yeah, love you guys. Have a great year. Peace.